Good morning, my dear students. So the dates for the second semester examination of B.Ed degree 2019-21 batch has not yet been notified. I feel that we would better start the question paper discussions of previous year's examinations now itself, because we have to ensure that all of you are on track. We have to ensure that all of you haven't not lost your touch with the general papers. So, as usual, I would like to have question paper discussions of all the question papers of this paper during the previous year's examinations. So now I am going to discuss the question paper of 2018 university examinations for the paper B.Ed C202 Knowledge and Curriculum Part-1. I invite and welcome all of you to this question paper discussion. Actually, this is not a true question paper discussion, because if there is a discussion, then there should be interaction. But because of some problems, we are not able to come together. And I had planned to have this question paper discussion by making use of video conferencing tools such as Zoom or Google Meet. But the matter is that nowadays you are busy with your optional classes, and in the morning you are with your optional teachers from 8:30 to 12:30. So if I too organize some online live discussions in the afternoon, I feel that it will be a burden for you. So I felt that I would create some PowerPoint presentations with some background voice. Then it will be useful for you, because you can open and go through this presentation when you get time, or it will be there, or you can go through it in the morning, in the afternoon, or in the night when you get time. So I welcome all of you to this question paper discussion. And see, if you have got some doubts, even after listening to this question paper discussion, you can just post the questions on our WhatsApp group. And if there are some other items which haven't come in the question papers of previous year's examinations, then you can just post such items too on your WhatsApp group. So let's start the question paper discussion. Please come with me. We can enjoy the question paper discussion. Thank you. Good morning, my dear students. So my dear students, let us just enter the question sessions. As you know, in the 50-mark questions, there would be 4 parts: Part A, Part B, Part C, and Part D. In Part A, you can see 6 questions which have got 1 mark for each question. So here you should be careful, because you will get only 1 mark even if you are writing 1 page or 2 pages. So just write a point for the questions. If you're writing as points, then you can just give 2 points. Or if you're writing in sentence, then you have to write a sentence of 2 or 3 lines. Now that's enough for getting 1 mark. And if it is for 2 marks, then you can just write 4 points if you are giving the answer as points. And if you're writing in a sentence, then you have to write a sentence of 4 or 5 lines. So if you have to be you have to control yourself just for getting more time for writing the answers of answers for paragraph and essay questions. Okay. So now the first question is, what is meant by hidden curriculum? It's a very simple question. then if it is for 1 mark, you can just write it's a type of curriculum which is used for cultivating values or imposing the ideology of ruling class indirectly. And if it is a 2 marks question, then you have to give a little more words there. So you can just write it's a type of curriculum which is used for cultivating values or imposing the ideology of ruling class indirectly by including moral stories or biased history in it. It's enough for 2 marks. And see, look at the term itself, hidden. Hidden means something invisible. So if you want to create or cultivate a value in your students, for example, honesty, if you tell directly you have to keep honesty, it will not be more effective. But without telling them to keep honesty directly, if you include the story of Mahatma Gandhi or the story of Raja Harichandra, of the story of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam or the story of Khalifa Umar, then it will be more effective to cultivate the value called honesty in your students. And another thing is that some ruling people will be eager to continue their power. And for continuing their power, they need to make the people think just like they think. And for that, if they are compelling or forcing the people to obey them, it will be working for a few months or for a few years. After that, there will be some revolt. But if they can conquer the minds of the people by creating some impression, by creating some thoughts which are favorable for the rulers, they can continue their power. And for that, without telling them to obey them directly, they will teach some biased history and such things. You can see Hitler's Germany as an example. So if you are asked this question for a paragraph question, you can write all these points which I explained here. But if you are asked for 1 mark or 2 mark, you can just write this one, what I type here. If it is for 1 mark, it's a type of curriculum which is used for cultivating values or imposing the ideology of ruling class indirectly. And if it is for 2 marks, it's a type of curriculum which is used for cultivating values or imposing the ideology of ruling class indirectly by including moral stories or biased history in it. So you have to get the point. And if it is asked for a paragraph, even if it is asked for an essay question, just to write about an essay, write an essay about hidden curriculum, you should be able to do that by including different points and different examples. Then the second question is define knowledge. Again, a very simple question. If it is for 1 mark, you can just write knowledge is the deep and detailed idea about things, is enough. And if it is for 2 marks, then you can write knowledge is the deep and detailed idea about people, places, events, theories, principles, concepts, or anything like that. And see, there is a difference between information and knowledge. You know that information is some basic idea on things, but knowledge is deep and detailed idea. If you are asked to write a paragraph on this, write a paragraph on knowledge, then you can just tell knowledge is different from information. Information is the basic idea of people, places, events, theories, principles, concepts, or anything like that. But knowledge is a deep and detailed idea about all these things. If you see a man and if he is able to answer some objective type questions about a man, he has got only information. He may be able to tell the name of the man, tell the birthplace of the man, tell the birth date of the man, tell the educational qualifications of the man and such things. But if you ask about that man's capacities, strengths, weaknesses, or such things, this person may not be able to answer. So you can tell that he has got some information on that man. But if a person is able to give you some descriptions about a man, his strengths, his weaknesses, his feelings, then you can tell that he has got knowledge, great knowledge about that man. And this is similar in the case of places, events, theories, principles, concepts, or anything like that. If a person has got knowledge on a concept, he will be able to answer any type of questions you ask about that concept with explanations, with elaborations. And this is the difference between knowledge and information. So if you ask a question on knowledge to write in a paragraph, then you can add these points, you can add examples. But if you are asked for 1 mark or 2 marks, just write this one. Knowledge is the deep and detailed idea about things. It's all for 1 mark. Then knowledge is the deep and detailed idea about people, places, events, theories, principles, concepts, or anything like that. You have got 2 marks. Let's move to the third question again for 1 mark. Define truth. Very simple. Truth is considered as some concepts or theories which can be proven with science or human logic. And see, this is the opposite of belief. Belief is some concepts or some visions, some views, some opinions, or some theories which are spread among people without having any scientific proof or any logic behind that. And this is belief. And truth is something else. So if you ask a question for 1 mark or 2 marks to tell about truth, you can write this one. Even if it is for 1 mark and for 2 marks, you can write this answer for that. Truth is considered as some concepts or theories which can be proven with science or human logic. Or truth is some concepts or theories which can be proven with science or human logic. So if it is asked for a paragraph question, you can write different things. Among people, different beliefs are there on the basis of their religious concepts, on the basis of some traditional scripts, on the basis of some folk stories. People have got different beliefs. They may be true or false, but modern people do not consider such things as truth. For modern people, truth is only something which can be proven by making use of scientific theories or human reason. So very simple. Truth is considered as some concepts or theories which can be proven with sense or human logic. You have got 2 marks. I think you can make use of different sentences. Okay, you can change the words, but the theme should be there. If you write truth is some views or some visions spread among people which can be proven with science or human logic, you can write so. So this is the third question. Then the fourth question is explain education as a system. See, explain. When you see the word explain, don't try to explain the question, answer, because you will get only 2 marks. So you should write it in 3 or 4 lines. So if you ask a question for that, for 2 marks or 1 mark, just write as a system, education is a large network which includes administrators, management, teachers, students, office staff, parents, and community. You know this one. And if you ask a paragraph question, explain education as a system, then you should give an explanation for each of these terms: administrators, management, teachers, students, office staff, parents, and community, in 4 or 5 lines. For example, if it is a paragraph question, then you have to write as a system, education is a large network which includes administrators, management, teachers, students, office staff, parents, and community. The success of an educational system depends upon the activities of all these stakeholders of education. If something from this is not effective, or if something from these elements does not work in a proper manner, the whole educational system will become a failure. So administrators should do their duty. Administrators should prepare an innovative and effective policy. They should provide due financial support. They should ensure that all the educational institutions have got enough facilities. They should examine that all the educational institutions are working in a proper manner. They should form curriculum committees by recruiting meritorious people as the members of curriculum committee, etc. Okay, so you should write some 4 or 5 lines on each points: administrators, management, teachers, students, office staff, parents, and community, if it is a paragraph question. Okay, and here is for 1 mark. So just write, as a system, education is a large network which includes administrators, management, teachers, students, office staff, parents, and community. Now look at the 5th question. Describe problem posing education. So it's for 1 mark. Though describe is there in the question, don't try to describe. Okay, just give the point. So you can just write, problem posing education is the critical pedagogy of Freire that recommends presentation of contemporary issues before the learners. You have got 1 mark. And if it is for 2 marks, just write, problem posing education is the critical pedagogy of Freire that recommends presentation of contemporary issues before the learners so that to make them think critically about such issues and find solutions for them. So it's okay, it's over. And if it is for a paragraph, then you can write about the concepts of Paulo Freire, such as culture of silence. In the traditional classroom, actually culture of silence is the students are not getting any opportunity for thinking about the contemporary issues. Students are oppressed by the teachers, so they are the oppressed people. So we should create a pedagogy called critical pedagogy for the oppressed students inside the classroom. And by using this critical pedagogy, you can present different contemporary issues before your students, and they can find out the solutions. And through such a critical pedagogy, you can make the students some people who will be reacting against social injustice in future and such things, if it is asked for a paragraph. But here you are asked to write a 1 mark question. So just write what problem posing education is. Posing means presentation. Problem posing education means problem presenting education. That means the teacher should present some contemporary problem before students. If it is for 1 mark, and if you write problem posing education is a view, an educational method introduced by Paulo Freire which tells that some contemporary issues should be presented before the learners. If you write so, you can get the marks. Okay, so just look here. If you ask the question just for 1 mark or 2 marks, just write what I have typed here. Problem posing education is the critical pedagogy of Paulo Freire that recommends presentation of contemporary issues before the learners. 1 mark. And 2 marks, problem posing education is the critical pedagogy of Paulo Freire that recommends presentation of contemporary issues before the learners, so that to make them think critically about such issues and find solutions for them. Then the 6th question is, what is broad meaning of education? What is wide meaning of education? So if it is for 1 mark, broad meaning of education is that education includes all the experiences, formal as well as informal, and it's a lifelong process. And if it is for 2 marks, you can just write broad meaning of education is that education that includes all the experiences, formal as well as informal, and it's a lifelong process. It does not consider mere certificates, but informal life experiences too as the sign of education. So we call a person educated only if he has got some certificates, he has got some formal education. If we see a person who has done PG, post-graduation, we will tell that he is more educated than some other people who have got some degree. And if we see some people who haven't got any sort of formal education, we will tell that he is an uneducated man. And this is the narrow meaning of education. But broad meaning of education is that education includes all the experiences, maybe formal or informal. So we should think about that. So the first part, that is part A, is over. Now we are going to start the second part, that is part B. Answer all questions. Each question carries 2 marks. And here too you have to be careful. Just write 4 points if you're writing the answer as points, and just write 4 or 5 lines if you're answering the questions in a sentence. Okay, so the 7th question is, why is education considered as a 3-dimensional process? And this is a view of John Dewey. According to John Dewey, education is a 3-dimensional process with teachers, students, and learning environment as its elements. He viewed that if you neglect any one of these 3 elements, education will become incomplete or failure. This is enough for 2 marks. So if you look at the educational process, teacher is there, student is there, and then learning environment is there. Even if you have got a very good communication skill, even if you have got some thorough idea about the content you are teaching, and the students are ready to accept your teaching, if you haven't got a better classroom environment, then everything will be collapsed. But there should be a better classroom environment. And similarly, if the students are intelligent and if the students have got aspiration, and there is all the classrooms are smart classrooms in your school, but if the teacher is not able to handle the classrooms, handle the smart classrooms in an effective manner because of lack of knowledge on technology, then everything will be collapsed. So it's a 3-dimensional process, and these 3 elements are important. All the 3 elements are important for making the educational process successful and effective. So if you are asked for giving a paragraph on this question, you can elaborate by giving different points. different examples, but this is for 2 marks. So you can just write it's a concept of John Dewey which tells that education is a 3-dimensional process with teachers, students, and learning environment as its elements. And he viewed that if you neglect any one of these 3 elements, education will become incomplete or failure. Then the 8th question, again 2 marks question, explain embodied knowledge and embedded knowledge. Here I have to make a clarification because I have told you that embedded knowledge is some personal knowledge or organizational knowledge. So I want to make some change here. Embodied knowledge is tacit knowledge that is exclusive to some individuals, that they cannot explain it in words or other media because they experience it at their physical self. So embodied knowledge is individual knowledge which cannot be conveyed to others by making use of language, by making use of words. But this embodied knowledge becomes embedded when this knowledge is becoming the part of a particular group. For example, if your mother prepares a particular type of tea and all the people admit that the tea prepared by your mother is something exclusive, something different, your mother may not be able to tell how she prepares that type of tea by making use of words or any other media. So it is an embodied knowledge owned by your mother. But if your mother is able to convey this procedure to all the members of your home, and each and every person of your home becomes able to such a particular type of tea, then it becomes embedded knowledge. That means it becomes a part of your family. I may give you another example. I had told you this one in your classroom. Look at Enfield, Royal Enfield. It's a particular type of motorbike. So at a particular point of time, some person might have designed Enfield. Actually, all others are designing motorbikes, but this person at a particular moment might have designed this Royal Enfield. So it was his embodied knowledge. But he was able to transfer this knowledge to a group of people who are working for Enfield. So it became an embedded knowledge of that particular company. So embodied knowledge is individual knowledge which cannot be conveyed by making use of words or any other media. Embedded knowledge is the knowledge owned by a particular group of people which cannot be conveyed to others by making use of words or other media. So here the question is for 2 marks. Explain embodied knowledge and embedded knowledge. So you can just answer just like this. Embodied knowledge is tacit knowledge that is exclusive to some individuals, that they cannot explain it in words or other media because they experience it at their physical self. This embodied knowledge becomes embedded knowledge when a group or organization becomes successful in making it an exclusive property of that particular group. And this is one of the mottos of modern uh, business groups. All the business groups try to create some embedded knowledge which is exclusive for themselves. If you look at Apple phones, you can realize this. Actually, I was wondered when I saw that most of the Apple phones offer cameras below 20 MB, 20 megabytes. And other phones, Samsung, then Xiaomi, then OnePlus, etc., are offering 50 MB phones, 108 MB phones. But look, if you look at the videos or photographs taken by using Apple phones and other phones, you can see great difference, huge difference. And when I search for the secret behind that, I came to know that the sensor used by Apple phone is something great. It is because of the quality of the hardware which is used by Apple. And this knowledge will not be shared by Apple to others because it is an exclusive knowledge of their own company. So this is embedded knowledge. So in simple words, embodied knowledge is exclusive individual knowledge. Embedded knowledge is exclusive group knowledge. So for 2 marks, you can just write what I type here, okay? And if it comes for a paragraph, you can explain just like I have done here. Well, then comes another interesting question. Differentiate between a priori knowledge and a posteriori knowledge. So a priori knowledge is rational knowledge and a posteriori knowledge is empirical knowledge. Before telling about the answer, I may clarify your confusion. See, if you see some cloud, if you see some clouds in the sky, your reasoning power, your logic will tell you it's going to rain. Yes, it's a priori knowledge because you have got the logic or you know the principle that when there are clouds there is a chance to rain. Okay, then on a particular day you see something in the sky and you tell that it's going to rain. Actually, there are no clouds. Actually, there is no sign of rain, but you tell that it's going to rain. Actually, you told so because during such an occasion in the previous year, it was raining. And during such an occasion, before a couple of years, you saw that you had seen that it was raining. Or you had been seeing that it had been raining on such an occasion for several years. So out of your experience, out of your previous experience, you have got a knowledge that it's going to rain. This is a posteriori knowledge. So a priori knowledge is rational knowledge that you get some knowledge, that the knowledge you get from your logical thinking with some attributes, with some variables, with some conclusions. While a posteriori knowledge is empirical knowledge which you gain through your actual experience. Got it? Yes? Yes. So this is enough for 2 marks. Then the 10th question is, explain the experiential conception of knowledge. Actually, conception means to gain. So here I thought that the question paper maker might have intended concept, experiential concept of knowledge, but here the question is explain the experiential conception of knowledge. So you can just write, you can develop and expand knowledge from your own life experiences if you think deeply about the experience and analyzing different aspects of the particular experience. This process is known as experiential conception of knowledge. So we have to think about our experiences. We have to analyze our experiences. When we analyze our own life experiences, we can gain different sorts of knowledge, different varieties of knowledge, different varieties of skills. And this process of gaining knowledge is known as experiential conception of knowledge. So if it is for 2 marks, just write this one. You can develop and expand knowledge from your own life experiences if you think deeply about the experience and analyzing different aspects of the particular experience. And this process is known as experiential conception of knowledge. Or you can write, experiential conception of knowledge is the process of gaining knowledge by thinking and analyzing one's own life experience. Is a little more simpler. You can get 2 marks. This is the last question from part B. 2 marks. Explain the concept of idea. And this is something new. Actually, this is not included in your syllabus. But last year such a question was there. This term is not included in your syllabus, but still it was there. So I just searched for getting some information, then I have got this information. It's a Greek term which means educational system with a large cultural setup, where different aspects of the culture of the society such as art, music, arithmetic, history, etc. taught and discussed. So this is a term which includes some larger cultural area. And in Greek, they were promoting these items in the field of education. They thought that when giving education to our children, we should teach all the items related to a particular culture. Not only some content, not only some history, not only some arithmetic, but all the things, the art, literature, music, arithmetic, history, etc. Everything should be taught. And such a concept was known as paideia. So it's a Greek term which means educational system with a large cultural setup, where different aspects of the culture of the society such as art, music, arithmetic, history, etc. are taught and discussed. Now we are going to discuss paragraph questions. This is part C. There would be 8 questions and you have to answer 6 questions. You will be getting a maximum of 4 marks for each question. And just try to write 1 page to 1.5 pages with accurate points. And see, you should give accurate points and due explanation for getting 3.5 or 4 marks for paragraph questions. Sometimes if the candidates are giving perfect answers, we people offer 4 marks. If you are able to give some excellent and super answers, then you can get at least 3.5 marks. You should be able to give accurate points and you should be able to give some due explanation. And here the 12th question is describe the different types of knowledge according to Western philosophy. Sometimes you may be startled, you may be shocked to see Western philosophy, because you know different types of knowledge, but you may not be, you mightn't have heard different types of knowledge according to Western philosophy. Don't worry, because each and every type of knowledge is a type of knowledge for Westerners and for Orientalists. Because intuitive knowledge is a sort of traditional concept, but psychoosmosis, a modern psychology, believes in intuitive knowledge. So you can just write each and every type of knowledge which you have studied. Revealed knowledge is there. Actually, in Europe, Western countries, there is religion, and most of them are Christians, and some of them are believing in revealed knowledge because some of them are religious people. So you cannot tell that revealed knowledge is a part of Eastern knowledge. It's a part of Western knowledge as well, because in Western countries also some people are religious people. So you can list all these types of knowledge out there. So there are different types of knowledge, and you may not be able to mention each and everything, but you can just mention some of these knowledge pieces there, and you have to give 1 or 2 sentences for each knowledge. So you have to write first. According to Western philosophy, there are different types of knowledge such as revealed knowledge, rational knowledge, empirical knowledge, intuitive knowledge, explicit knowledge, tacit knowledge, or embodied knowledge, embedded knowledge, scientific knowledge, propositional knowledge. You can write all these things. Then just define this knowledge. What revealed knowledge is, what rational knowledge is, what empirical knowledge is, what intuitive knowledge is, what explicit knowledge is, what tacit knowledge is, what embodied knowledge is, what embedded knowledge is. Yes, right? Something very simple. And 30th question is, how do power and ideology influence the curriculum? Give examples. So here we have to talk about how the ruling people try to impose their ideologies on common people. So we have already discussed something like hidden curriculum. So in an indirect manner, these people will force the citizens of their country to keep a particular lifestyle. So what will happen? We can look, okay. Through curriculum, people of ruling class always force people to think in a single dimension. And for making them think in a single dimension, people on power brainwash the citizens by making use of hidden curriculum. For that, they always include some biased content. It means they will not be giving any importance to the literature written by some people who are against the ideologies of these people. They will be including some content which can promote their ideas. And similarly, they will teach some fabricated history. They will not teach the real history. They will not teach the true history. They will make their ideologies, or they will make some, they will teach some histories of some glorified personalities who were with some ideologies which these people keep. So they will be teaching some fabricated history. Then there will be exploitation of religious and racial sentiments. Such people will introduce some religious myths and such things in the curriculum, and making use of such myths and aspects of religion, they will be getting some sentiments from people, and they will be using divide and rule strategy. If they have to remain on power, they have to make a division between the majority and the minority. Then they will create an impression that they are the servants of the majority, and they will create some hatred and anger in the minds of the majority towards the minority. So by making use of such things, the power and ideology of the ruling people will be there. So they influence the curriculum. They always select some items on the basis of their ideologies. And similarly, they always select some people as the members of the curriculum committee, not on the merit, not on the academic profile, but on the basis of their partiality towards the ideologies of these people. Now, this is what is happening there. So how do power and ideology influence the curriculum? If such a question is there, then you can tell about hidden curriculum, then fabricated history, then exploitation of religious and racial sentiments, then making use of divide and rule strategy. Next paragraph question, that is question number 14. Discuss the epistemological aspects of pragmatism. So I have told you in classroom that there are three aspects or three branches for philosophy: metaphysics, then epistemology, and axiology. Epistemology is the branch of philosophy which tell about knowledge. So different philosophy, schools of philosophy have got their own epistemology. That means their own educational concepts. So here, if you get a question like discuss the epistemological aspects of pragmatism, it means that discuss the educational aspects of pragmatism. So if such a question is there, you have to tell about aims of education in pragmatism, curriculum promoted by pragmatism, then methods of teaching promoted by pragmatism, then role of teacher in pragmatism, and discipline promoted by pragmatism. So you can just tell that pragmatism is a modern school of philosophy. It always promoted modern educational concepts. According to pragmatism, the aims of education should be creating professionals, then creating adoptable mentality and modernization. It means that by giving education, you should make people change their attitude and personality on the basis of the circumstances. They should be able to cope up with any sort of situation in modern world. And the curriculum which is promoted by pragmatism is utilitarian curriculum. That means whatever thing you teach, then it should be useful for the day-to-day life of a person. Or it should make the people able to earn or secure a better job in the society where they live. So it should be activity oriented curriculum. They do not promote product oriented curriculum, or they do not promote result oriented curriculum. They promote activity oriented curriculum or process oriented curriculum, because they believe that skill of the people are important, not knowledge of the people. Similarly, they promote experimental curriculum. They believe that curriculum should be prepared on the basis of some studies, some researches. It should not be on the basis of some traditional concepts. Then they promote the methods of teaching such as project method, then learning by doing, then experimentation, discussion, debate. As we told, they do not believe in knowledge gaining or knowledge expansion of knowledge, or getting some scholarship, but they believe in the modern life. So the modern societies require some people who can collect information, analyze information, and such things. So project method is something important for the purpose. And similarly, there should be learning by doing. Practical learning should be there according to pragmatism. And there should be experimentation, because nowadays we are living in a scientific world. So when you teach some science subjects, instead of teaching the theory, you should make them experiment. You should make them teach each and everything through the method of experimentation. Then there should be discussion and debate, because nowadays people are in search of some hands who have got better communication skill. The role of the teacher in pragmatism is democratic role. Equal role is there to teachers and students. So we are living in a democratic country. So there should be some mutual understanding, mutual respect, and such things. And you should give freedom to the students, because they have to be part of activities inside the classroom. And without giving some freedom, they will not be actively participate in the classroom activities. Then there should be democratic discipline according to pragmatism. So you have to explain each and every point in 3 or 4 sentences, because this is a paragraph question. And if you're asked to write, discuss the epistemological aspects of pragmatism for an essay question, then you should write a paragraph on aims of education, then a paragraph on curriculum, then a paragraph on methods of teaching, then a paragraph on role of teacher in pragmatism, and then a paragraph on discipline promoted by pragmatism. And the 15th question, another paragraph question, is so familiar to you. Describe the factors which determine the educational system of a society. And here the points are philosophical factor, political factor, economic factor, geographical factor, psychological factor, socio-cultural factor, etc. And you should give some explanation for each factor. Philosophical factor. You can tell that philosophy is the view of life of a society, and education is arranged on the basis of the life concept of a particular society, and philosophy of a particular society determines the aims of education, the curriculum, the methods of teaching, the role of teacher, and discipline in a particular educational system. If idealism is the philosophy of a particular society, then their aim of education will be self-realization. And if naturalism is the philosophy of a particular society, then their aim of education will be self-actualization. And similarly, political factor also influences the educational system of a society, because you can see that different political parties have got different ideologies, and on the basis of the ideology of the political party which is ruling the country or society, the aims of education, curriculum, methods of teaching, and such things will be determined. Then economic factor is another factor. If your country has got a better economic status, you can give better education to your citizens. And similarly, if the educational system of a particular country is arranged, I mean the content, the curriculum is formed on the basis of the resources which act as the main economic source of a particular country, and such things you can write there. The geographical factor also is an important factor. According to the geographical factor, you can think about the vacation and such things. In India, we have got summer vacation because during the summer days, the heat will be more. So students may not be able to concentrate on what we are teaching. So we are accepting summer season as a for vacation. So again, this is geographical factor. So geographical factor also influences educational system of a society. Then psychological factor, or the mental attitude of the children and such things are also considered when we are arranging different types of educational activities. Then socio-cultural factors, we are giving education to citizens on the basis of the socio-cultural factors. When we prepare curriculum, we have to think about socio-cultural factors. When we are teaching some art forms and such things, we have to give importance to the local folk arts and such things. So all these factors influence the educational system of a particular society, and this should be your style of writing when this question is there for paragraph. The next paragraph question is 16th question. Compare and contrast the educational thoughts of Freire and Dewey. You might have heard about educational thoughts of Freire and you might have heard about educational thoughts of Dewey, but you mightn't have thought about the difference and similarities. So I may just give you the points and I feel that you can expand the points. Similarities, both promoted child-centered education. If you think about the educational concepts of Freire and John Dewey, you can see that both of them were against the traditional teacher-centered education, and Dewey was thinking about activity-oriented or process-oriented curriculum. At the same time, Freire was introducing uh, some critical pedagogy. Then both promoted methods such as brainstorming, discussion, debate, etc. Both of them did not believe in the traditional methods such as imitation, then observation, then lecturing, but both of them were giving more importance to discussion, debate, brainstorming, such etc. such methods. Then both of them believed in democratic freedom, because both of them are the representatives of the modern democratic societies, so they believed in democratic freedom. Then differences, you can see some differences there. Dewey was a pure professionalist while Freire was a humanist. Actually, Dewey was not keeping any sort of values. Actually, he was not telling about values. He was a real modern educationist. According to Dewey, the most important aim of education is to make the people get a better job. But Freire was a humanist. He was thinking that education should make the children able to react against social injustice and such things, exploitation, against some exploitation in the society. And Dewey gave importance to craft educational. Freire promoted highly philosophical education. Actually, Dewey was promoting craft-centered education. He was promoting the education which will enable students to create some instruments for getting some earnings for their life. But Freire promoted highly philosophical education. He was thinking about critical pedagogy and such things. He was thinking that the most important aim of education should be making the learners think about the contemporary issues. So education should make them able to think about contemporary issues in a critical manner, then to find it should be making the students able to find out some solutions for the contemporary issues and such things. Do we give importance to economic profit while freer focused on social service and political awareness? So you can expand all these points for a paragraph, and I think you can get 3.5 or 4 marks. A simple question, 17th question, paragraph question. Discuss the different types of curriculum. You have got core curriculum, activity oriented curriculum or process oriented curriculum, product oriented curriculum or examination oriented or content oriented curriculum, then issue based curriculum, then hidden curriculum. So you can write the definition of all these curriculum, and you can mention the benefits of different curriculum in 1 or 2 lines. So I will be discussing these items in a later presentation. I will tell you what core curriculum is, what activity oriented curriculum is, what examination oriented curriculum is, what issue based curriculum is, and what hidden curriculum is. So you have to give a correct definition for all these types of curriculum, and you can add some more examples and such things to make your paragraph more um, um, more effective. And the 18th question is explain the purpose of education in the contemporary Indian society. And this is a general question. And this needs some general knowledge. This needs some political awareness. So when you're asked to write the contemporary purpose of education in the contemporary Indian society, you should look at the present situation in our society. So you can see that nowadays we are watching different types of communal violence, hatred, such things. And similarly, we can see even the educated people are committing lots of crimes. You can see degeneration of values, you can see value crisis, all these things. So we can write these points. The first purpose of education should be strengthening secularism. And you can mention some examples, some social anarchies because of lack of pure secularism in our country. Then strengthening national unity. If you look at the development of our country, you can see that most of the northeast states are not getting any sort of development, and similarly the southern states such as Kerala are not getting any favor from central government. So there should be national integration through education. Then again, another purpose is focusing on value education, because most of the educated people are doing all the sorts of anti-social activities. It proves that it is because we are giving more importance to professional education. As Jiddu Krishnamurti told, we have to make value education and subjects, humanities subjects, a part of science education, and such things you can write there. Then promoting IT oriented education, and this is because nowadays the economic status of a country is depending upon the IT source resources of that country. So if you have to make your country economically developed, then you have to give importance to producing some IT expertise or experts. So IT oriented education should be promoted. Then another purpose is promoting democratic principles. Nowadays most of the parties are not giving any respect to the people of other groups, and you can see that democracy is killed in our country nowadays just for getting power and such things. So education's one of the most important purpose of education in the contemporary Indian society is promoting democratic principles. Then teaching to respect the feelings of women. If you look at the studies, different studies in our country, you can see that day by day the cases in which women are harassed, women are tortured, are increasing. So it shows that male community is not ready to respect the feelings of women. It should be there. Male community should be trained to respect the feelings of women. Then teaching creative writing and freelance writing. And nowadays, as you see, online platforms are there. So especially during this coronavirus pandemic, so we can just work sitting at our home. So we need some creative skill of writing and freelance writing skill, so it should be a part of education. Then another purpose is teaching the traditional values such as honesty, simplicity, tolerance, and non-violence. This is something important, because even when we are accepting some modern elements to our life, we should keep our traditional values. So it also should be a purpose of education. Then teaching to learn to be. This is a pillar of education according to UNESCO. And nowadays, if you look at the communities or society, you can see broken families, because husbands are not ready to be husbands, fathers are not ready to be true fathers, mothers are not ready to be true mothers, wives are not ready to be true wives, sons and daughters are not ready to be true sons and daughters. So this is because people are not ready to accept their responsibilities as the members of different social institutions. So education should keep this as a purpose, to teach people to learn to be a meaningful part of different social institutions. So there are lots of points. So you have to select some points and just write the paragraph in 1.5 pages. This is the last paragraph question in this question paper. Explain the epistemology of idealism. A similar question was there. Explain the epistemology of pragmatism. So explain the epistemology of idealism. It means that you have to write about the educational concepts of idealism. So first you have to write aims of education in idealism. You know, self-realization, then spiritual satisfaction, creating welfare society, creation of ideal citizens are the aims of education in idealism. So you should explain it as sentences. Idealism has got some particular aims of education, as it was a traditional educational, and it was a traditional school of philosophy. It believed that the most important aim of education is self-realization. That means by realizing the creator, one should be able to realize himself. Then as any other traditional school of philosophy, idealism believed that spiritual satisfaction, or making the people able to reach spiritual satisfaction, should be another aim of education. And idealism gives more importance to society rather than to individuals. So another aim of education according to idealism is creating welfare society by creating ideal citizens who are ready to sacrifice their individual interests for the sake of welfare society. Then idealism promoted traditional curriculum. It's the oldest school of philosophy, and it's a traditional conservative philosophy. So they believed in traditional curriculum by including moral stories and such things. Then they promoted the teacher-centered methods of teaching, such as imitation, lecture, Socratic method, observation methods. Then their discipline was their idealism does not promote any sort of freedom to the students. They believe that only restricted freedom should be given to students. There should be impressionistic discipline according to idealism. It means that teachers should be a role model for the students, and teachers should create some impression in the minds of the students, and students should be able to accept some disciplines, code of conduct themselves by looking at the impression created by the teachers. Then direct moral instruction should be there according to idealism. So the teacher should advise the students to keep honesty, then simplicity and such things. And role of the teacher, actually idealism gave the most important role to teacher. Teacher was the center of the classroom. According to idealism, teacher should be the center of the classroom. Teacher should be the dictator, controller, and role model, such things. Because idealism believes in creating ideal citizens. So teacher should control each and every activity of students. Teachers should ensure that they are not violating any sort of rules and regulations, because they have to become ideal citizens in future, that they should be able to sacrifice their personal interests for the sake of the welfare of the society. So if you write so, you can get 3.5 to 4 marks. And dear students, I just bind up this question paper discussion here. Actually, the question paper of 2018 examination is not over here, because 2 more questions are there, and they are essay questions. Now I feel that I'll be discussing the essay questions in an exclusive presentation. So this time I just stop here by discussing the short answer questions and paragraph questions, and next I will be discussing this question itself in Malayalam language for those who would like to get some discussion in Malayalam language. Thank you very much. So the third part is over, that is part C is over. That is the paragraph questions are over. Now essay questions are there. There are 2 essay questions, and they have to answer 1 question. And if they have answered the question in 3.5 pages or 4 pages with beautiful points and correct explanation, you can give up to 8.5 or 9 marks.